I moved to Norway's capital Oslo in 2014 and spent there 10 amazing years. Then we tried Spain for a year and finally settled in South Italy. My journey so far has been incredible and eye-opening. Norway and Italy are two completely different countries, and comparing them doesn't make any sense. So this video is more of a deep dive to show you how life in both countries can be. We will look at how hard it is to get inside these countries to start with, costs and options for housing, life with kids, educations and activities, cost of living, pace of life, and community in general. So all necessary things you need to know before making major decision of moving. So how do you move to Italy or Norway? I analyzed the rules for residency both in Italy and Norway. In both countries you can get residency based on these reasons: work, study, and family. In Italy, you also have an option of elective residence visa if you have stream of income from abroad, and so-called golden visa, dolce visa, if you make an investment of minimum 250,000 euro. In Norway, there is no straight option of buying residency like that, but you can get a residency as self-employed or business owner if you can show that you support yourself financially. Italy has lower fees and thresholds like yearly minimum salary limits to apply for different types of residences. But at the same time, quotas for work visas are competitive, especially for skilled workers with connections. If you have passive income or investment capital, Italy's elective residency visa or golden visa options make it more accessible for retirees, wealthy individuals, or investors without needing a job offer. Norway, on the other hand, is better if you are a highly skilled professional with a job offer. Norway's system is efficient with high demand in tech, engineering, and healthcare. So Italy will be definitely easier for those with financial means, or if you already have steady stream of income from abroad, while coming to Norway is easier for employed skilled workers. From my personal experience, Norwegian system is more selective but transparent, while in Italy it's more flexible but it requires a lot of paperwork. Second important aspect of choosing the country is housing options. Oslo is a very expensive place to buy a flat, let alone the house. So to compare, I will show you prices of places that are fairly in a 2 hours distance from Oslo. That would correlate with our house that is 2-hour drive from big city named Bari. To look at current market options, let's go to Finn.no. It's the biggest platform in Norway for selling and buying properties. As you can see, there are houses in price range from 150 to 230,000 euro, which is roughly the same as we paid in Italy. I set the same parameters for square meters, minimum 3 bedrooms, no need for major renovations. We bought our house in Italy for 200,000 euro and it did not require any major renovations, so we were quite lucky. And looking around, the house prices for a good condition 3-bedroom house in Italy will be around the same mark, considered that it's not in the major cities. Just to get an idea of market right now in 2026, here we can look at some examples from a major platform selling properties in Italy called idealista.it. You could buy property in both countries without being a legal resident, and property purchasing will not grant you residency nor in Italy nor in Norway. When it comes to financing, Norway would require at least 20% entrance from you so you can finance the rest, and the total debt should not exceed 5 times annual income. Technically, there are no minimum number of years you should live in Norway for asking house loan, but you need to have a Norwegian residency. At the same time, in most cases, banks will want to see at least one tax declaration from Norway, and chances are best if you work for a Norwegian employee, but it's not required. In Italy, you can technically get mortgage even as non-resident, but terms are usually bad. If you are a resident, you can expect higher loan-to-value ratio at 80-90% and longer terms up to 30 years. If you are non-resident, you will need to have 40 to 50% down payment. Loans are given for shorter terms like 15 to 25 years, and of course rates will be higher. But what about special programs? Well, both countries actually have them. In Norway, Husbanken is in charge. Husbanken is a Norwegian housing state bank, and it provides loans and grants to promote stable housing. For example, their startup loan can cover 100% of the loan, have nice rates, often fixed, and has long repayment terms. This program is designed for people who can't get a loan from other banks due to low income, no savings for down payment, or other challenges. To be eligible, you need to be a legal resident, but there is no minimum years amount that you need to live in Norway. I actually tried to apply for this loan 2 times while I was living in Norway. First time I was rejected because I did not have a full-time permanent working contract, and the second time they replied that I have too much income and can save myself for the down payment. From personal experience, I know that if they give you a credit line, they must approve on the houses you find and see how it complies with how many people are in your household. Italy also has a government-backed program called Fondo di Garanzia Mutui Prima Casa. This one is for first-time homebuyers. This program is also open for foreigners and expats as long as you provide valid residence permit. Maximum amount bank gives you is 250,000 euros, and the property must be your first home in Italy and abroad, intended as your primary residence. Priority categories like young people under 36, single parents with minors, and large families get up to 80-90% mortgage covered. And because government promises 80% of the loan, in many cases, banks feel safe to lend 100% of the house price, which means no down payment. So in general, Norwegian startup loan is created for people in need, while Italian program is aimed towards younger people. To touch on the topic of rentals, I think right now it's hard to find a good and affordable rental, both in Norway and Italy, if you want to do it from abroad. The rent in big cities is usually high in both countries, from 2,000 euros for 2-bedroom apartment. But if you will be looking outside of big cities, you can pretty much find rentals for around 1,000 euro in Italy and 1,500 euros in Norway. For example, here in South Italy, 2 3-rooms properties range from 500 to 900 euro, and in Norway you can find 3 rooms in smaller towns around Oslo for 1,000 to 1,500 euro. If you want to move with kids, the interesting thing to research is education options for your kids. I will share my experience from both countries now. My kids attending public school in Italy and also was attending public school and kindergarten in Norway. In Norway, there are not many options for private schools, especially if you live outside of major cities. Same with Italy. For us, closest international school was in Brindisi, but it's 1 hour drive away, so we ruled out that option and decided to try public school and see how that goes. Now we have survived a semester and I can compare some obvious things. The biggest shock after switching from Norwegian to an Italian school for me as for parent was endless flood of documents. In Norway you sign a couple of forms in the start of the year, like photo permission, trip consent, and that's it. But in Italy, every single piece of bureaucracy, from municipality, politics, or internal changes, lands in my parent app. I get 1-2 multi-page documents daily. And since I'm not fluent in Italian yet, I spent hours translating and reading them, and I'm terrified that I'm gonna miss something important for my kids. And in reality, it's mostly pointless administrative junk. The second thing that's killing me is WhatsApp groups. Italians create a group chat in WhatsApp for every class, every event, every child you have. In Norway, people usually just send a direct message if they need something, no obligatory parents groups. I struggled badly with this because of my social anxiety. Seeing a couple of unread messages stressed me out so much that I simply don't open the chats. And it's just getting worse because all is in Italian, which I still did not master. Another huge difference is the constant testing and grading in Italy. Grades from 1 to 10, or 10 is being the best, with tests almost every week, even for my oldest kid who barely speaks Italian. In Norway, grades are from 1 to 6. 6 is the best, but kids don't get official grades until they're in 8th grade. Primary school, it's first to 7th year, has only progress feedback from national tests, telling if your child is below average or above the national level. Almost all teachers speak English, at least in Oslo and bigger places. There are strong adaptation programs for non-Norwegian speakers. Here in Italy, we are basically the pioneers, no other expert kids in our small town, so teachers are creating brand new integration plans from scratch. But everyone is incredibly kind and accommodating. Homework is intense in Italy with heavy backpacks full of books every day. In Norway, there are no books to carry until middle school. Minimal homework, often done at school, and all the learning materials stay in school. In Italy, school starts earlier, 8 o'clock, and goes until 2 o'clock with tiny breaks and no after-school care. In Norway, shorter lessons with good breaks, a long 40 minutes lunch play outside break, and after school until 4 o'clock is available for working parents. Preschool kindergarten is a day and night too. My 4-year-old goes half day, so until 12 o'clock, and they are always indoor doing crafts or reading book pages. In Norway, kids are outside most of the time, even in bad weather. In Norway, public kindergarten from age 1 to 6 cost around 200 euros a month, open from 7 in the morning to 5 p.m. In Italy, kids under 3 years need pricey private nurseries. We pay 220 euro for a half day for our 18 months old, and if we would have a full day with meals, it will be over 500 euros a month. From age 3, preschools is for free for half day from 8 to 13 with optional paid aftercare until 4 p.m. The payment is based on income, but it's not so much, around 50 euros a month. All in all, I'm very glad that my kids spent their early years in Norwegian school and kindergarten. Norwegian system based on Waldorf or Steiner methodics, which allows the kids to explore more, do more creative practical activities, rather than early academic testing. When it comes to after-school activities, Norway and Italy, of course, offer different things. As we say in Norway, smak og behag, or whatever floats your boat. South Italy and Italy in general is foremost football, volleyball, tennis, swimming, basketball, gymnastics for girls. Here, kids can enroll in the most of activities from age 4 publicly and privately from age 3. In Norway, activities make the most of natural stunning landscapes, so skiing, hockey, swimming. When you start school at 6-year-old, you can enroll kids in sports clubs. There you can have gymnastics, handball, football, basketball, but most of these activities goes indoors, of course, because of the weather. There are also private art and music options in both countries, but what I really miss is structured classical art or music schools for younger kids. And before we move to the next chapter, I want to mention 2 services that genuinely made my life so much easier. Wise for banking and NordVPN for secure internet access. Wise is a hands down the best banking solution I found 3 years ago when I was moving from Norway. It's a European-based digital bank that gives you real multi-currency accounts, a debit card, and transfers at the actual mid-market exchange rate with tiny transparent fees. no ridiculous bank charges when I need to send my money from Norwegian account or get paid in different currencies. And pretty much every export community I'm in, from Reddit to Facebook groups to digital nomad forums, recommend Wise as go-to option. And when I'm traveling or like now living in a new country, some government websites and banking portals are blocking access from foreign IP addresses. That's why NordVPN came into my life a couple of years ago. My husband is software engineer and he himself named NordVPN as the best one. I use it to quickly connect to a server in Norway and suddenly I can log in into all of these sites without any issues. It's fast, reliable, and gives me peace of mind knowing my connection is private. If you're an expat, digital nomad, or just deal with international money and online access, I honestly recommend both Wise for your finances and NordVPN for staying securely connected no matter where you are. I linked both services down below so it's easier for you to find. When it comes to the cost of living, here are the biggest expenses for most families based on our experience. Groceries, including food and hygiene products, in Norway, as a family of 5, we spend 15 to 17,000 Norwegian kroner monthly, which is 1,400, 1,600 euros at current rates, without restricting ourselves, and the prices have risen since. In southern Italy now, family of 6, including our new baby, it's around 800 to 1,000 euro per month. So fresh, high-quality food feels far more affordable and abundant here. Norway has steep taxes on items like alcohol, tobacco and sweets. A good bottle of wine starts at 25 euros versus 8-15 euros in Italy. If you're single and frugal in southern Italy, you could easily keep groceries under 300 euros monthly. Utilities for homeowners. In Italy, water cost us 80 euros per month, electricity was 150 euro before solar panels, and now it's around 50 euros, even with heavy IC heating use. In Norway, water ran 1,500 to 2,500 Norwegian kroners, so between 150 and 250 euros, and electricity 4,000 to 6,000 Norwegian crowns. Internet and phone. Italy offers great deals. For example, 5 euros for 100 gigabytes mobile data and unlimited calls. For the internet, we use Starlink here. It's 40 euros a month since fiber isn't available yet. In Norway, plans start higher, from 30-40 euros for much less data. Right now I'm paying 35 euros for Norwegian SIM card with 5 gigabytes internet and unlimited calls. Fuel prices are similar now, around 1.6-1.7 euro for liter in both countries as of late 2025. And we spend 60 euros weekly driving 10-15 kilometers daily for school, activities and shopping because we live just outside the town. The next line of budget is dining out, and in Norway a family meal easily hit 100 plus euros. In Italy, it's typically 50-70 euros, so we eat out far more often. Personal care, clothing and pharmacy. So in Italy, it's much cheaper. We spend around 120 euros per month versus 200 euros in Norway. Plus, easy Amazon access without import fees makes it much more affordable in Italy. Kids' expenses for us, so nursery books, sports, tutors, paid like 400 euro a month in Italy, and it was around 500 euro in Norway. In Italy, my kids definitely doing more activities for less money, and Norway has higher fees for activities and kindergarten. Overall, life in Norway felt 30% more expensive for our large family. Here in Italy, the savings combined with fresher food, better activities and overall quality make it overwhelmingly worth it. I will make detailed video about cost of living in Italy soon, where I will show all the expenses that you need to be ready for if you want to move here. So if you don't want to miss it, hit the subscribe button. Also on my second channel dedicated to Norway, you can check video about how expensive Norway really is. I will link it in description. But how people work and live? What about working hours and pace of life? In Norway, a typical workday runs from 8 to 4 p.m. with a half-hour lunch break break around 12 o'clock. This schedule aligns perfectly with school and kindergarten hours, so parents pick up kids afterwards, head home, prepare dinner, and eat around 17 o'clock. Evenings then are free for leisure or activities like sports or arts. Italians follow a very different rhythm. Many people take a long break in the middle of the day, similar to a siesta. Work often starts early, say 7:30 to 1, then followed by a break until 5 p.m. and then continues until 7 or 8 p.m. Lunch is the main meal that families usually eat around 2 o'clock, while the dinner is later and it's usually between 7 and 10 p.m. We still haven't adapted to these late dinners. I've noticed that it's common in Italy for small children to stay up late, especially in summer. I've often seen families past 11 p.m. with tired kids asleep in their parents' arms because adults want to enjoy dinner at 10 p.m. Our children, however, follow more of a Norwegian routine. Because of this, we cannot easily join friends for dinner at 7 and late social activities. So we prioritize little ones' sleep for now, but sure it will get easier in the year or two. Punctuality is another big cultural difference. In Italy, it's not taken very seriously, at least not compared to what we used to. My husband, who grew up in Germany, found it especially hard to adjust. When we were renovating our house last summer, the tradespeople often arrive 30 minutes late or more. And the farther south you go, the more relaxed people are about time. In Norway, people are much more time conscious. Being 5 minutes late is usually fine, but anything more is noticed, especially for appointments with doctor, hairdresser, dentist, or government offices. And now let's talk about transport. If you live in rural areas, both in Italy or Norway, you are very much dependent on a car. Better 2 cars and 2 drivers if you have kids. After school activities, shopping, traveling, everything is best done by car. And while buses are going, of course, the amount of them is limited. While buses in Norway goes on time and you even have app to track them in real time, in Italy, the more south you go, the less reliable public transport gets. Another shock for me was how people driving cars. Italy is a big contrast to Norway. I got my driver license in Norway 4 years ago before I moved away. So I was accustomed only to Norwegian style of driving. To describe it, Norway has very strict rules and speed limits. Pedestrians are the gods. You feel very safe in traffic. Everyone uses signals, everyone knows the rules, the signs. The number of drinks you can have before you drive is always 0, otherwise you can lose your driving license. And Italy, the streets of our small town is chaos. There are no priority rules, no signals used, speed limits are more of a suggestion. It's not even a thought for Italians if the road you are using is one-way street. If you are coming from the country where everyone drives more on intuition than on rules, then it will not stress you out so much. But I don't know how they pass driving exam here. I bet half of these people who is driving around small towns don't even have a driver's permit. And that leads to a big problem if you have kids. You are constantly stressed and afraid for them around traffic. In Norway, I was sure my kids never will be harmed when they're crossing roads, even in the middle of Oslo. The last point about community will be based solely on my experience and very personal opinion. Italians are incredibly open. They will welcome you in their lives almost from the first meeting if you click. The sense of community here is overwhelming. People genuinely help each other without hesitation. For me, this warmth and connection far outweighed any material comforts or practical challenges of living in rural southern Italy. People help you find people. Everyone is working together. Everyone knows each other. There is no problem you cannot fix by asking around. We were incredibly lucky to get friends straight since we moved here. And me and my husband are not the most extroverted people. We have limited time to even go and make any friends. So I'm sure if you don't have kids and have a little spare time to go out, finding friends in Italy will not be a problem, even if no one speaks English. By the way, our friends don't, as almost no one in the city we live in, and we are not fluent in Italian either. But there is absolutely not a problem for supporting each other, make life better for each other, gather with the kids and have super fun time. Norway and Norwegians, on other hand, are opposite. There is a cold wind all the way. And I know I will get bashed again in the comments about how wrong I am and how friendly Norwegians are. Yes, friendly, but in comparison to Italians, respectfully, it's sad. I consider myself one of the people who knows how to be friends, how to give back to my community. I've been an observer of personal relationship of Norwegian people for a long time, as friends, as couples, inside the Norway and outside, when last year we lived in a fully Norwegian community in Albir in Spain. When comparing, Norwegian people are melancholic, practical, self-centered, some feeling of deep unhappiness I've seen many times behind the social smiles. No true feelings exposed, not knowing how to have fun, how to put someone's interests in front of their own in the way that it makes you very happy to do something for your friends and make their life easier. The only warm and genuine people I met that spoke Norwegian was like me, not really Norwegians by birth, immigrants, assimilated expats, or half Norwegians raised in mixed cultures. So the big question to answer is, why did I move? First reason is that one good income cannot sustain a family in Norway. And here the values take a toll. I want to actually raise my kids, be present for them, and follow all their activities. Take care of the house, cook nice meals for my family, and gladly my husband wants the same. So when we looked at different options, we stopped at Italy because my husband has an Italian citizenship along with German, and I have a Norwegian one, so it was a very easy entry. And in South Italy, one good steady income is more than enough to sustain a big family. And the second reason, of course, that kids get to grow in the sun with the sea and high quality food, some of that even freshly grown, because we have a garden where I could show off my gardening skills. And while kids are small, we just decided to prioritize the health, the family, the childhood. But as they will grow, I think in future we will move to North Italy or even Switzerland for better educational opportunities and better services. So that's it for me. Please subscribe and share your thoughts and experience in the comments. And I see you in the next one.